As AI continues its rapid expansion into myriad aspects of our lives, the need for regulation is growing just as fast. The British Standards Institution is currently working towards designation as an AI-notified body that will ensure the rights and values of individuals are protected, while at the same time fostering innovation in AI.
I am not a risk. But some of the technologies that I represent have the potential to be a risk.
We're all very familiar with the horror stories, whether it's mistakes caused by AI-driven data or the complete Hollywood-style dystopian future where the machines take over. But if we're going to have confidence in the safe use of artificial intelligence in the future, then we need to know there are agreed standards and regulations on how it will be used.
I'm Craig Civil. I'm the Director of Data Science and Artificial Intelligence for the British Standards Institution.
When was your first awareness of AI in the form that we know it now?
I can name the year very precisely. It was 2010. And it was when I was working in a healthcare startup organisation. We could use artificial intelligence if we can get patient consent to gather their data, their healthcare data. If we can get consent to gather hospital supply data, we can match the two together and create a product that would target the right healthcare at the right moment in time.
How critical is it that the data going in is reliable to begin with?
It is absolutely the number one consideration. A big topic of concern is the data set that has been used to create the output has got some bias. A good example would be it's white, it's middle class, it's male. That means that the results that you get off the back of it are going to be biased towards the white, male, middle class.
We talked about regulation, but we also talk about the innovation needed to make this work. I mean, how easy is it going to be to strike that balance, to make those sit together?
I think regulation, it helps innovation because it builds the trust. If you can demonstrate that you adhere to the regulation, you adhere to the standards, you're going to build trust in the product that you've created using AI.
That desire to make sure that the regulation of AI doesn't get in the way of the innovation and the development of the technology is really important, but it's also really important to consider public opinion. For example, a recent poll for BSI found that 40% of people are already using AI in their work, and they think it'll become commonplace as we go forward. And more than half said they'd support the use of AI medical tools if it could help them or a loved one to get better. However, just over 60% of the people asked around the world felt there needed to be some sort of international guidelines around the safe use of AI, and a similar number felt there should be some protection in place for vulnerable consumers.
I'm Mark Thirlwell. I'm Managing Director of AI Regulatory Services within BSI.
We're here talking about some very new technology, but actually BSI as an organisation goes back a long way.
Yeah, so we were established in 1901. Originally, that was by being the UK's national standards body, and that was the first national standards body in the world. When the EU AI Act was first announced in April 2021, we recognised the opportunity and the need to really play a pivotal role to make sure that people are ready for the incoming legislation. It sounds obvious, but it's not regulation for regulation's sake. It's regulating a product to make sure that it's fit for purpose, that it's safe to be used, and it's fair for the individual using it, for organisations and for society. So I got into AI because I truly believe it can be a force for good. It's not a silver bullet, but has a role in solving some of our most intransigent, difficult problems. So climate change being an obvious one, social inequality. There will be disruption in the labour market, but this is about augmenting people with the right tools to do their job.
And you can see that in action at BSI. They aren't just looking at AI technology in terms of safety. It's also able to help them and their clients to navigate the vast quantities of documentation relating to standards.
We are trying to use ChatGPT alongside our standards content and make sure that we're relying on trusted content rather than the information available in the internet.
So how does it work?
So we can ask questions in natural language. We can get answers using ChatGPT, but an answer that is evidenced by the trusted content from our standards.
Because we can see citations down here.
Exactly. So we have a paragraph that is pulling together the sentences from clauses that are relevant to this question. It's very important for us to know why this answer came to be. We want all the stages of our workflow to be transparent.
Whilst the AI Act transition period won't end until 26-27, which is when manufacturers need to be ready by, we want to help them get ready, give them the opportunity to say, okay, would we stack up? Would we meet the criteria as we stand? The next big area then we're looking at is training. So rolling out training to support, again, our manufacturers to understand what the AI Act means. And finally, we want to support the authorities to provide regulatory sandboxes so that people can test their own AI against the standards.
That's a safe environment where you can test something.
Exactly. So it's got a regulatory wrapper around, but it gives a bit more sort of ownership of the alignment to the legislation to the companies themselves.